So, when you think of yoga, what comes to mind? Probably stretching, expensive leggings, you know the deal. And you're not alone. But what if I told you that its original purpose was something way, way deeper? Today, we're going to rewind the clock to 1934 and crack open a foundational text called Yoga Makaranda. It's by Sri T. Krishnamacharya, one of the key figures of modern yoga, and we're going to uncover its original blueprint. Right out of the gate, Krishnamacharya has a bone to pick with the modern world. He saw this problem brewing almost 100 years ago that honestly is even more true today. It's this habit we have of treating everything, even our own minds and bodies, like some kind of business transaction. He calls it this instant gross business-oriented attitude. Like a worker who does a job and wants their paycheck right there on the spot. He says when you bring that same mindset to something deep like yoga, you are completely, fundamentally missing the entire point. And that brings us to the central question of his whole book. Yeah, why should we do yogaಭ್ಯಾಸ, the actual practice of yoga? What's in it for us, really? He asks this question because he knows it's what we're all wondering. And let me tell you, his answer has pretty much nothing to do with getting a six-pack. The real answer, according to this blueprint, isn't about physical fitness at all. That's just a nice side effect. The real prize, the ultimate goal, well, it's all internal. It's about getting a handle on the one thing that's running your entire life, your mind. And there it is. That's the whole ballgame. The true purpose is to pull the mind back from all the external noise, all the chaos, to shut down that constant inner monologue and to land in a state of deep, unshakable concentration. He even uses this brilliant analogy to explain just how powerful that is. Okay, so check this out. He compares two kinds of rest. First, you've got your regular, everyday sleep. He calls this tamasic, which basically means it's heavy, inert, and it just comes from being totally exhausted. But then you have yoga nidra, or yogic rest. This, he says, is pure sattva. It's a state of goodness and clarity that you achieve through practice. It's a totally different and way superior kind of rejuvenation. So, just how much better is it? Get ready for this, because he makes a wild claim. He says the health, the strength, and the happiness you get from this yogic mental quiet is more than 1,000 times greater than what you get from just crashing on your pillow at night. We're talking about a completely different level of restoration here. So how in the world do you get to this state? Well, it's not a free-for-all. Krishnamacharya lays out a super clear, structured system. It's a step-by-step path you have to follow. He compares it to climbing the stairs of a temple on a hill. You got to take every step to get that final divine vision at the top. And here's the path the whole system laid out. You'll probably notice right away that asana, the physical postures, is only step 3. The journey actually starts with ethics and self-observation, then moves into breath and withdrawing the senses, and only then does it lead to deep meditation. Every single step is built on the one before it. So let's look at that foundation. The first 2 steps are called yama and niyama. Think of these as the ethical rules and personal codes of conduct. We're talking things like non-harming, being truthful, purity, and contentment. The key takeaway here is that before you ever strike a pose, the real path begins with how you live your life and how you treat yourself and others. Now we get to the parts most of us recognize, right? The postures, or asana, and the breath control, pranayama. But in this text, their main job is to build a strong, healthy, and purified body. Not just for the sake of looking good, but to create a stable container that can handle the much deeper, more subtle work that's coming next. And this is where that deeper work really kicks in. Krishnamacharya makes it clear that yoga isn't just about moving muscles around. It's designed to work on the body's subtle energy systems, the invisible, internal wiring that makes us tick. At the very heart of this is something called pranavayu. You can just think of it as the vital life force, the energy that animates your entire body. He says that the whole practice of yoga really is an attempt to purify, control, and aim this fundamental energy with intention. And where are we aiming that energy? To the chakras, the body's subtle energy hubs. The text explains how the practice cleans out and activates these key points, from the root of your spine all the way up to the crown of your head. It's this process that promotes health, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being. Each one is a step up the ladder. But, and this is a big but, with a system this powerful comes a very serious warning. He is crystal clear that this is not something you should mess around with or just dabble in. The difference between doing it right and doing it wrong is basically the difference between taking medicine and taking poison. And he lays it all out. Correct practice is systematic. It follows a specific sequence, what he calls vinyasa. It absolutely requires a teacher's guidance and real discipline, even down to what you eat. Incorrect practice, well, that's just flailing your body around, ignoring the rules, and he actually calls this out, just trying to copy poses from picture books. And trust me, he does not mince words about what happens next. He says people who practice the wrong way don't just miss out on the benefits, they can get disastrous results. And in doing so, they give a bad name to the entire science of yoga. So the message is clear, the method and the discipline, they're everything. But, and this is the beautiful part, for anyone who does follow the path correctly, the promise is huge. And he says you don't have to wait until you're some enlightened master to see the results. You get visible benefits at every single stage of the journey, from the physical strength you build early on to the deep inner peace you find later. Ultimately, he frames yoga as the foundation for basically anything you could ever want out of life. Whether you're after siddhi, which means worldly accomplishments and skills, or you're aiming for total liberation, the ultimate spiritual goal, it's all built on this one single practice. So when we look back at this incredible blueprint from 1934, it really leaves us with one big question to think about. When it comes to our own time on the mat, are we just doing a practice, or are we actually walking a path?